Good morning, everyone. Day 2 of the 21-day series that I'm pulling together of working for community clubs and how we can make them healthier. And firstly, I want to thank I think we had 800 people watch our video yesterday, which is quite phenomenal. The power of social media is phenomenal. And just quickly, my background. So my company's TD Solutions Sports Administration. Our website's tdcommunitysolutions.com.au, and our Facebook page is TD Solutions Sports Admin. So if you're looking for any additional content, please go there. We're now working in 500 odd clubs across 12 sports, and I'm fortunate to have worked at the AFL level for 17 years at 3 AFL clubs, so at executive level. So, but I'm still the vice president of my local club in Gippsland, which is Coral Inn. So for those that have followed me, they would know that. So today we're going to go through the role of the president, and it's a critical role. And I always say you're only one president away and one senior coach away from a good club becoming a not so good club. Those are the two critical appointments, and you put the wrong people in those positions and your club can deteriorate quite quickly. And as we know, sport is all about momentum, and once it goes in sort of a declining fashion, it can be like a runaway train. And this is one of the chapters in my book that I'll be releasing in about 3 weeks' time, where we've got a lot more detail and which we'll cover. Basically, we're going to also, and it's just an interest, and I was talking to someone that, if you want to coach it in most sports around the country, you need a minimum standard of a qualification, level 1 coaching, etc. However, if you want to run your local community club on a committee, you need zilch, zippo, nothing. And, some of these clubs are turning over 50 grand to $1 million, and people that don't necessarily have the skills to take on especially a small to medium-sized business in some circumstances, and and the pressure that comes with that is enormous. But what I want to tell everyone here today, there is a formula to run a successful club, whether it's the elite level, which I was fortunate to work in for a long time, or at grassroots. It's exactly the same. It's just the numbers that are different. The great thing about what we're going to talk about today is, I actually had a phone call from a president that I did a workshop for in Morwell, Paul, and Paul hopefully may be watching this, but we spoke a couple of days ago, and he said, Terry, he came back from Christmas, he was a bit sort of, had lots going on, and he said as soon as he saw our 20 steps of how to structure up the season, how to get ready for the season, it sort of gave him some clarity and gave him a clear mind, and he said each was a biteable chunk, and it actually gave him that roadmap. So we're going to go through the 20 steps, not in detail because the video won't go that long, but basically the 20 steps that are required to run a community club. I want to talk about with most volunteers, and we'll touch on volunteers and the pressure that's on volunteers, but you've got people that are running these businesses when they are businesses, sporting clubs, whether it's local level, state level, or association level, league level. It's like having a part-time job, but you're not getting paid for it. And the pressure that comes with that. And very rarely do I see anyone get 3 of these points right at the one time. And I talk about family life, I talk about club life, and family, club, and their career. The pressure builds, and as they're trying to balance those 3 things, and something ends up giving. And typically the family life, the pressure builds, and that's where that cycle, which I'll talk about, the cycle of being on a committee, and people walk away after about on average 3 years. So our model is built around extending the lifespan of the volunteer. I think basically we're going to go through some key tips, and I'll give you another live example, which I think is really important. I spoke at a function, or at a group forum last year, 34 clubs in the room. There was 21 new presidents in the room from the prior year, a 60-odd% turnover. So we've got a problem, haven't we? So the pressure, the days of 3 or 4 people doing everything at one club are over, and that's why the committee structure must change. And I've spent a lot of time and focus on redeveloping a new type committee structure that shares the load. And our business, and anyone who watches our videos on our website, they finish with one theme: successful community clubs share the load. So there's probably 8 or 9 sample 2-minute videos that we've developed a library of about 160 videos. We've got about 100 templates. You know, it's really, if you feel some pressure, particularly any new presidents out there, go to our website, do the free health check, get a feel of where your club is at, or even just check out our website. And also, I've got a lot of free content on Facebook. So TD Solutions Sports Administration. So what we're going to go through, which I think is really important. I think before, as a president, I'm going to go through the high levels, and I've broken it down. I've got a couple of little points here that I might have to put my glasses on so I can actually see them. But we're going to give you some tips. But basically, you firstly need to know where you sit as a club. You know, in terms of what are the gaps in your club. So we do a quick health check that's on our website. It's free. It assesses 10 key areas of your club. And it's usually at that time we send back a one-page report assessing those 10 key areas of governance, finance, sponsorship, fundraising, volunteers, membership, committee structures, all that sort of stuff. So, and it gives you a ranking and a sort of a mark out of 100. And this is you assessing yourself. So I think it's really important to focus on that. What we're finding, just from an emotional point of view, the burden, the pressure, committees feeling overwhelmed because they're virtually left to work it out themselves, and they don't know how to move forward. And our role with TD Solutions is to give you the roadmap. And as I think I mentioned in yesterday's video, for many presidents, it's like a massive forest and they don't know where to start. And our role is to narrow the focus down to 5 key points. 5 key points is sufficient. And we link that to our online education that gives you the boost that you need to get started. It's really important, as I said, for the new president, you got to get your committee structure right. I think the days of the traditional committee structure are over. The world is changing. People aren't working, or the volunteers aren't working as long as what they were previously. I think there's as many volunteers, but they're working probably as half or as third as long. And so there has to be a shift in the structure. So we've developed a new committee structure to reflect the changing landscape of volunteerism. Probably, as I said earlier, how you set up your revenue modelling. In most clubs that I'm dealing with, they've got the same revenue modelling that's 30 to 40 years old. So we've got a new revenue model, and we provide that to our presidents about bringing new initiatives and bringing new money, not from the same well all the time, which is often really consistent with every single club that I speak to. What we're going to go through also is, I'm going to bring my glasses on now. You've got to have a planning day. You've got to have, I'll talk to you about the volunteers and take advantage of that over 55s and over, which I can give you. I'm going to do another video. I'll do a video on that. You need to identify your gaps in your committee. You need to appoint a person to your committee who oversees your revenue streams. I've got a rule of thumb that no person at your club should be in charge of more than 2 revenue streams. And typically I see that, a lot, where one person charges 5, they do 2 well, 2 average, 1 not so well. We're going to go through, as part of the president's, choose 3 to 4 new initiatives of the 30 we talked about to raise you anywhere between 70 to 100 grand. And that's all relative to the particular sport, but that is a real money, and it's new ideas, and it's not going back to the traditional, as is the same people from all the time. It's important. I still think it's important to invest in your core business. Membership is critical in getting that set up at this time of year. You've got to have budgets for the treasurer, so you've got to have that in place. Look, I met with a club the other night that 3 months into the season or into the year, and they don't have a budget. It's got to be a priority, and you've got to put people's names against those, which I'll go into more detail as we go. You need a social calendar planning. Look, there's lots and lots of stuff, and look, I've already gone for about 9 minutes, which is a long time. So, as I said, there's a lot to learn. There's a sort of structure to running a club. Here's a roadmap for a president for the first 90 days, and that applies to old and new presidents. Hope you've enjoyed watching this, as I've enjoyed sort of making it. If you feel this is going to be of benefit to someone, please feel free to share this. So take care, and it's a very warm Melbourne day here, and see you tomorrow. Cheers.